Dragon Ball community, welcome back. This is Scout Chris bringing you guys another deck profile, and today wanted to bring over one of the decks that I've been playing in the off season of competitive play, which is gonna be Red Bulma. This is a very fun, I think a very good control deck. Red doesn't have a lot of those, unfortunately, and I do think, depending on the time rules, I think this deck could actually be very viable in some interesting best of ones. Something I'm thinking about playing in some of the regionals online. We'll see. But this leader here is from set 8. Has the good old Restand 2 whenever it awakens, but this card here is very unique because it doesn't have to draw. I mean, it doesn't have to attack to draw, which I really like. Very Golden Frieza-esque if you think about it. So activate man on this side, you draw a card. On this side, you draw 2. Also, all of your red Saiyans in Earthlings and yellow Saiyans and Earthlings gain blocker just from this leader being, you know, in your leader area. So every Earthling and Saiyan that you play, which our entire deck either has blocker, except I think except for one card. Every card in the deck at least has blocker printed on it already, or gains blocker off of her effect. So our entire deck is defensive. Makes it very difficult to kill. Now this is a 60 card list. However, if you've ever played a Bulma deck, played against a Bulma, you guys know that Bulma draws a lot. So generally 60 cards isn't that big of a deal. We actually run it so we can not deck ourselves out, essentially. So we had a lot of 1-drops here that we're going to go over. So we have the 1-drop Go-10 and 1-drop Pilaf. These are both searchers. Pilaf searches out Earthlings 4 or less, or our 4-drop Unison. Go-10 searches out Saiyans 3 or less, or our 3-drop Unison. Red as well. So, but these just allow us to search out most of our deck, and they're generally one of our best turn 1 plays. To Shu. Shu allows us to counterplay 5Ks that are coming into play, which are our weakest matchup is Sin. Yellow Sin's very annoying. But when you get rid of a 9-drop, they play one of the 1-drop balls, or they're just going to play a 1-drop ball for 1 energy. You actually can counterplay it. It's one of the only chances you have of actually counterplaying the card, since the card can't be affected by skills. So being able to either kill a 9-drop and then just counter with this so they can't play it, or when they go to tap 1 to play it, you can just pop it. That then gives you a blocker on board, obviously. To Broly for blue and yellow matchups, being able to look at their hand and just rip out cards is very good. To Mai, this is for blue. It's also barrier as well. This card draws you a card, and then if your opponent decides to restand an energy using a counter skill, they add a warp energy. Crit an energy and critical life. To Videl negates. Card's very good. Allows you to negate and then also becomes a blocker. And then the last 1-drop we have is the 1-drop Videl. This Videl here actually can bottom deck any Earthling or Saiyan in your drop area. So all these cards actually can be bottom decked, and then you grab any 3-drop or less red Saiyan from your drop area and add it to your hand when you play it. So currently you can add back the Broly or the Go-10, but as you'll see, there's a lot of cards in the deck that are red, that are Earthling, and or Saiyan. So any of those cards you actually will be able to grab back off of this skill. So getting some other cards here, we have 3 Yamcha. The Lawless. This card allows you to draw a card extra every turn, and then 2 red. Card gains 15k and double strike. This is very good. This is very good turn 2 against a lot of slower decks. Just get it out there. Decks that don't have good spot removal, it's just going to sit there and just draw you cards. If the card lasts for 2 turns already, it's already doubled your hand size for what you would be able to do on those turns. So just being able to draw extra cards per turn is very good. 2 Vegeta counterplays. This hits 15Ks. Past turn 3, it's a 1 cost. So this just allows you to hit the Mecha Frieza, the Robotic Riposte, which are very irritating. Which is any card that's being played 15k or less, you can pop it. Those. This is pretty standard here for the Bulma decks. Being able to play the Nappa Gogeta combo. Nappa is the best combo for the deck because you can use it twice, once from hand, and then it comes into play as a blocker. Now you have either a blocker or another 10k combo, right? Also searchable off of Go-10. Also, you can grab it off of the Videl from the drop area, and then you have Gogeta where you play out for 1 red. Gogeta pops something 4k or less, and then has double strike. I wish this had the same effect as the Beerus Champa from Draft Box 4, where it can kill something 6 cost, which would be amazing, because then thwarting would be, you would just be able to just demolish any of the Gogeta Xeno decks, because they would play thwarting on turn 1. You just hold a red energy up, combo this, play this, and then just kill it, right? But It is what it is. You can always play the Beerus Champa as well in this deck if you would like to. I currently don't actually have the card, which is weird, but that's something you can play in the deck. For the Unisons, we have 3-2 split, 3 Jiren, 2 Vegito. This is generally going to be the most effective Unison for the game, but this is going to be able to allow you to lock your opponent out if you guys haven't ever actually seen the combo for it. But Jiren, +1 against Double Strike, -3, negs anything battle card wise, 25k or less, ignoring barrier. So you can kill almost any card in the game, right? The auto on this card is what's important because it negs a battle card. When an opponent plays a battle card or a Unison, you may choose it and neg it by 10 for the turn. A lot of decks are playing these dual attacking Unisons, like there's the Trunks Unison, there's the Gogeta, the Super Saiyan 3 Gogeta Unison. We don't like Unisons that swing a lot. So being able to neg a Unison by 10, and then now they can't attack my Unison with it unless they get rid of cards in their hand. Very, very powerful. Also, if your opponent plays a 1-drop Unison, that's 10k power or less, you can actually just neg it and just take a marker off of the card, so then it's gone. It's really, really funny. Vegito is your powerhouse Unison. Most games, this is what's going to help you win at the end. +1, you draw a card and play out a 2 or less red card, which your opponent has to counterplay the effect. So you +1, you draw a card, and then your opponent has to counterplay then in window 1. If they don't, then you can play essentially any of these guys, including the Yamcha here. Sorry. So including Yamcha, you can play essentially any of these cards off of your Vegito Unison. The best ones to play, obviously, like Yamcha is a great card because it's just going to draw you another card. Very good against blue. Probably the best card to play off of it if your opponent doesn't want to counter. And then obviously these as well, just being able to just draw and then just get a search off is pretty good. The -2 is what makes this Unison like one of the best Unisons in the game, I feel. Your opponent cannot play cards using battle cards using skills, and if they do, they go to the drop area instead. So any card that's being played off of a skill that's not being hard casted has to go to the drop area. So that's evolve, that's activate main, activate battle, or rival, whatever it is, right? They cannot play them. Overwhelm. So after turn 4, once you have this card down in the field, your opponent just physically can't play the game. And there's a lot of decks that just can't function that way. And that's part of the point of this leader, is to just out-resource your opponent. So you go 1 or 2 turns with them not being able to play any battle cards. This card demolishes yellow. Just a better version of Koitsukai, because now your opponent can't actually use those cards. Like, they can't actually use those effects at all. So no Turles, no Mecha Frieza, no Poutine, nothing. Just nothing's coming down, right? So the combo is with the Bardock here. So Bardock, this guy is a 3-drop, a 3-drop Saiyan. Deflect, 20k, comes into play. Choose one of your red Unisons and give it 3 markers. Essentially then making us a +1 every turn for the -2. So you're basically minusing 2 to +1. And that's nuts, right? So now this guy's a 20k blocker. You can get rid of him. You can, he gets killed, combo with him off, whatever. And then you use Videl to grab him back from the drop area since he has a 3-cost Unison. And then this combination here just allows you to basically loop your opponent to death until you have enough resources to kill them, or until you just outlast them. Once you get to turn 4, like, which you're going to get to turn 4 almost every game, if you have this card and you can't awaken that turn, you play this, you awaken, you -2, and then you just swing with this, swing with whatever, and your opponent just can't really affect the board, right? Having Unison, though, that's a 20k dual attacker, is definitely the weakness to this card. So making sure that you have blockers up and different things to be able to stop your opponent's Unison from doing stuff, definitely gonna be very, very effective. But this combination was explored a while ago, but we're still gonna run it in this variation of the deck just because it is so freaking powerful. We have, for the extra cards, I have 2 Violent Rays. It is good, especially late game, if you're running out of resources and they play something, especially a Unison, being able to play this, and then just calling Unisons. If you already have this on board, now your opponent can't attack with their Unison, and you just save your Vegito Unison, and then you can go next turn and just blow them out. 2 After Image Technique, and 1 Testing the Ops. This is essentially what we use to self-awaken ourselves. We don't run a lot of self-awakener in the deck. No battle cards that do it. So being able to Sparking 5 to use this, which negs the battle card by 10. gives our leader 40k for the turn, or I mean for the battle. Very, very powerful. And then also just being able to just take a life at 5 to play this for free. And then getting a blocker is very good. Afterimage I think is nuts, because Afterimage being able to get rid of a lot of your like small cantrips, especially like East Kai, things like that, Black Mask Saiyan, True Fighting Spirit, whatever, right? Just being able to just get rid of those little pesky cards, or especially like a card that has double strike, right? If your opponent decides to try to play like one of the one drop Self Awakeners that get double strike or get crit before they actually gain their power, you can counterplay them and just kill them, and then just saves you from having to deal with them. So these are some very, very powerful extra cards. The last 2 extra cards you run in the deck, it's going to be Master Roshi's Mafuba, and I love this card. This is actually one of the reasons why I wanted to play the leader. So this is Red's version of Mafuba, essentially. I know it's called Mafuba. Same exact card, a little more requirement to it. But this card's nuts. So if your leader is in Red Earthling only, and you have a Red Earthling in play, you can activate this card. And then it has the same exact effect as Mafuba, going on top of an attacking battle card, and then that card does not exist until the end of your opponent's next turn. So, pretty good. Now it says at the end of your next turn. I know there was a ruling that came out that says your next turn is the one that you're currently on. So I don't actually know how that would actually apply to this card. But we'll see. But yeah, this card super good. Gotta run the Mafuba. One Kaioken is a 3-drop, so we can search it off of Videl. We can grab it back off of Videl. We can search it off of Goten. Just being able to wipe a board 20k and then being able to just kill something with with like 20k power, ignoring barrier, i.e. like Slug, just really good. 3 Videl counterplays, since we run a 3 cost or more unison, we can play this. Same effect as Yamcha, but it's a spear boost, and it takes place in the auto window, so not the counter window. So this auto will go into pending, comes into play, effects go off from cards, and then this chooses 2 battle cards and negs it by 20k. So very, very powerful. If you compare this, if you combine this with the Jiren unison, you can neg something by 30. So like definitely, like in blue matchups especially, as you get in the late game, I'll try to establish a Jiren. So if they try to Android 17 me, I can play this with my Jiren, and then Jiren effect will go off. I'll neg it by 10. They'll rip all the cards from my hand, and then this will then neg it by 20. So then basically killing the Android 17. So they wasted 7 energy for nothing, and it's a blocker as well. And you can bottom deck it with Videl, and it's searchable. So very, very good counterplay. Yamcha's also good. But we run the big unisons, and I don't really see a point of running the Yamcha if this card allows me to do a little more negging. One new ruler. It's only one of the only non-searchable cards in the deck, and one of the only cards that doesn't actually have blocker on it. But just good to help you kind of push late game when you're going for those high resource turns where you're just kind of just swinging with everything. Just being able to help you kind of end the game. Very, very good card. Now we get to our 4-drops. So we have 2 of the Sun Gohan opposing the Demon, and 2 of the King Piccolo 5 seconds to eradication. So these are 2 of our 4-drops that put in a ton of work in this deck. Both have Deflect, which is very important, especially in this meta. Gohan is a dual attack blocker, Deflect, and then he has an activate main. You can actually evolve him. How about this guy, which I was running in the deck? It's a negate that comes in a rest mode, draws you a card, but I felt like it's kind of a waste of 2 energy. I'd rather just tap 4 for him. But he has an effect where you can tap your leader or your unison and neg your opponent's battle card board by 15k. You choose all of them and neg by 15k. Does not get through barrier, of course, but being able to just wipe an entire board of tokens, of just 1-drops, whatever. You play this against like Gogeta. You tap your leader, since your leader's just weak anyways. You just neg everything by 15k, and then you just swing twice. It just allows you to just clear boards very, very effectively. This is our leader Unison Destroyer. So we play him, Deflect, Double Strike, Barrier. When he swings, this card cannot be interrupted by blocker, so your opponent cannot block this attack. And when he attacks, he gives your Unison 1 marker. Any of your red Unisons, you give it a marker. So you can just plus up your Vegeta. You can plus up your Jiren. If your opponent decides to negate this attack, you take a life and your opponent burns a damage. So just this once you establish, if you establish 2 of these, it's game over. At least 1 though just allows you to just keep swinging once per turn, just gaining a marker, and it's just, you're going to slowly, you know, kind of dissolve the resources. This is to help get rid of the unison. This is to help get rid of board. I added a third 4-drop just because this card I think is really, really spicy. Is the 4-drop Sin. You guys know I love this card. Barrier, blocker, deflect, double strike, and activate main or battle. You spirit boost, and then you restand him. Your opponent mills a card. This card's super good into blue. Any deck that draws a ton, any deck that has a unison on board, you just swing into the unison. They say no negates. Activate main or battle. Restand him. They mill a card. They lose 2 markers. You can swing again, or you can use him now as a blocker. He also has a double blocker on your turn. If you block with them and then activate main, restand them, and then combo out. Now you have a blocker that they can't remove. Very, very good. The other black card we run is going to be Oceanus. This is the floodgate of the deck. This is what I wanted to. This is what I was battling with running Gohan here and Topo, but I felt like the better 2-drop units, the better 2-drop of like floodgate was going to be Oceanus. Has blocker obviously already, but then your opponent has to mill 4 cards, and because our games are going longer, I thought the mill 4 was a little more important than a drop 2 from hand. But just forcing your opponent just to mill basically 8 to actually deal 1 damage, because you're going to negate, they're going to swing, you're going to block, and then they have to swing again to actually even get to your leader. Not including all the other blockers and negates and stuff that you have in the deck, so it's really, really difficult to kill. But this card's really, really good. Also, I like using this to bait out coolers. Generally, once we get to like turn 5, turn 6, my opponent's going to just have something hopefully on board. They're going to swing. I'm going to do this. I'm going to force them to use 3 energy to get rid of their cooler, because I have more defense than my opponent can run coolers. So if they want to cooler this and waste 3 energy, and now they can't play one of their big boss monsters, that's fine. I'm not mad about that at all. So most of the time they won't, but you'll catch somebody out. They'll end up doing it, and then they just have to pass because they can't do anything else. One fighting against Fates, that's pretty normal. I felt like fighting against Fates was the better overwhelm now since we can't run Fu. The 8-drop Fu is pretty cool, but that energy we want to use for our other battle cards, so I wasn't too big of a fan of it, but this is probably the best one you can run. Now for one of our big boss monsters, we have the 5-drop Goku. This guy's awesome. So he's a deflect 25k triple attack. When he comes down, I believe he gives a marker to your unison, right? Yeah, so he gives a marker to your unison, and he negs all of your opponent's battle cards by 20k, which is really good because you can basically just remove an entire board of blockers. Divine Transformation is a card you can basically almost get rid of it with using this effect, right? You can take it down to 5k. But like this is just an amazing card. It just allows you to just put so much pressure on your opponent. And I say Divine Transformation as being a big thing because Golden Frieza is going to be a deck that's going to be very popular in this next set. So yeah, you want to be able to kind of go toe to toe with them. So this card cannot be counterplayed, can't be Goku, can't be whatever, right? It's going to come down, you neg everything 20k, and then you just swing. And you got to swing 3 times, and if they have a Divine Transformation on board, they're going to have to block with it. And now you're swinging 25k at 5. It's going to die, right? But I forgot they actually can't activate blocker, so Divine Transformation actually ends up becoming really, really useless in that matchup, right? So we have 2 of this guy. We have 1 of the Super Saiyan Blue Full Power. This card's great. I love this card. So it's a 5-drop. We're gonna hard cast it for 5. We're crazy like that. But it's a deflect double strike. When this card is in, I think when this card's in rest mode, right? Yeah, when this card's in rest mode, when one of your opponent's cards attacks or is played, you choose it and give it minus 10k. So between this and your Jiren, you can neg something like 20. Mixed with your Videl, you can go to 40, right? Or when a card attacks. Yeah, when one of your opponent's battle cards attacks, right? Also, when this card is removed from the board by a skill, I think, right? Actually, no, when it's just removed. Yeah, when it's removed, when this card is removed by an opponent's skill, they have to burn a life, and they have to crit a life. So you play this into like a green matchup, like late game. Once you got them, like if you can get down to like 1 or 2 life, and you play this card's gonna stick to the board. They can't charismatic it because they're gonna burn a life. But just any deck that can't remove this, via attacking, it's 25k double strike every turn. So they're gonna have to warp this card. They're gonna have to, try to KO it using a skill, whatever. once it's removed, they get the burn life, right? Both these cards are also, you can bottom deck them off of Videl, so you can always get them back. But it's just a very powerful card. I was also testing the 5-drop Broly that came out of the same set. That I think it's when it's in rest mode, your opponent attacks your leader. You can look at their hand and warp something 20k or less for the turn, which is really cool as well. But I wanted to test this guy out because it's one of my favorite red cards. It's also just like one of my favorite looking like full arts. So and the secret rare is gonna be Radiant Saiyans. Also can gain blocker, which is kind of funny, but being able to board wipe 4 cards is really powerful, and also just having a free 10k, and then that turns into a 2-drop 40k double strike crit, right? And since the deck doesn't have a ton of crit, the deck has a ton of double strike obviously, but being able to just be able to finish it off with this is just really, really powerful. Like there's turns like you're gonna have 7, 8 energy, being able to play this out plus this, and then combo this and then play it in, on turn 7, is really funny, right? Plus Unison, plus whatever else you have on the board, right? So it's a very powerful deck. I think, like I said, the fact that with the time rules and games are going really, really late, it's not the most ideal because you have to play the deck fast, but your opponent's most people play slow, unfortunately, in this game. At least kind of at that mid-range level of competition, that everyone they just kind of play a little bit slower. Maybe on purpose sometimes, maybe not. But playing a really, really heavy control deck in this meta is kind of difficult. So try it out if you would, if you want. Let me know what you guys think. Let me know what you guys think of the actual build itself. If you guys would add, take out anything. Interested to see what you guys would say. But thank you guys for watching. Hope you guys liked the video. Like and subscribe, and I will see you guys in the next video.